So the UFC is going to Saudi Arabia in June, and this is how I would book the main card. Now, I just want to start off by saying there was a fight night last night, Rose Namajunas, Amanda Ribas. The biggest takeaway from that entire card was Andre Lima got bit and got a tattoo. So that just tells you everything you need to know about that card. So this Saudi Arabia card I'm going to be booking here is going to have 5 fights on the main card. Starting off, we have got Shara Magomedov, the Pirate, the Bullet, whatever you want to call him and what he's known by. The 11-0 UFC Russian fighter with one eye is going to be taking a massive jump up in competition against Marvin Vettori. Now, this matchup had been rumoured before, obviously, Vettori got matched up against Brendan Allen. And obviously, then Vettori had to pull out due to an injury. But I think this would be a great matchup. One, because Shara Magomedov is Russian. He's a big name. And they're going to Saudi Arabia. They're going to want to stack this card with Russian fighters, Middle Eastern fighters, like they do for the Saudi or the Abu Dhabi cards. And I think Marvin Vettori would be a good fight for Marvin Vettori. Now, in terms of the stand-up, Magomedov should beat him. He's a better striker than Marvin Vettori. He's a great kickboxer, but surprisingly for being Russian, has shit takedown defense. And I think Marvin Vettori can really exploit that in his game. Marvin Vettori is ranked number 6 currently in the middleweight division, and Magomedov is coming off that win against Bruno Silva, so this is a mega jump for the guy in terms of competition. However, I think it will be an interesting matchup to see, and I think if you're Marvin Vettori, just looking at where you are in the rankings, who's booked, etc., you'd be taking this matchup just due because of Magomedov's name power, name value. He's not a megastar, but he has a pretty big enough name, and I think Marvin Vettori would win that matchup. So I think that would be the perfect fight to kick off the main card. Next, you've got Ikram Aliskerov versus Anthony Hernandez. Now, this was meant to take place at UFC 298. Then Ikram had to pull out, and Roman Kopylov stepped in, and Anthony Hernandez was able to get the submission. I just say rebook this matchup. Anthony Hernandez, let me just double check where this guy's ranked in the middleweight division. He is currently ranked number 12. Ikram is not in the top 15 rankings. I think he might just be outside it. However, Ikram is on a 7-fight win streak. Anthony Hernandez is on a 5-fight win streak. These are two big up-and-coming prospects in the middleweight division. The fight was already meant to happen. Rebook it. I think that makes sense. Rebook that matchup. I think that would be a perfect matchup as well. Again, Ikram Aliskerov fitting this card by being Russian. He was on the Abu Dhabi card, and like I said, the UFC like to stack these Middle Eastern cards with Russian fighters, etc. So I think that would be perfect. Starting off the main card, Shara Magomedov, Marvin Vettori. Then you have got Ikram Aliskerov versus Anthony Hernandez. 2 middleweight matchups back to back. Then moving up the card, this is one that I know that this card is meant to be a fight night, by the way, but I think this is going to be a stacked card that's going to have a title fight on it, but we're going to get there anyway. Next up, I think they should do Umar Nurmagomedov versus Corey Sandhagen. Now, again, similar to the Anthony Hernandez, Ikram Aliskerov matchup, this was meant to happen, but due to injuries, Umar had to pull out. Umar is obviously coming off that win on the Shamil Gaziev versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik card, where he did get dropped by his opponent who was making his UFC debut. However, he dominated the rest of the fight. And Corey Sandhagen is obviously coming off his win, which should have been a unanimous decision over Marlon Chito Vera. Have I said his name right? What the fuck is wrong with me today? Chito Vera, who is coming off the title fight with Sean O'Malley. What the fuck is wrong with me with names today? But anyway, this matchup, like I said, was already meant to be happening. Umar Nurmagomedov is ranked number 10. And I believe Corey Sandhagen is 3. So yeah, it was already meant to happen. Umar Nurmagomedov is a big name because he's obviously got that Magomedov backing him. The Habib team, the Islam team, etc. They're all like one big family. And again, he's Russian, so they're going to want to have these guys on the card. And Corey Sandhagen, in my opinion, yes, you could maybe give him a title shot, but I think he needs one more win before he challenges Sean O'Malley for the belt. I actually can't fucking speak today. What is wrong with me? Anyway, get that matchup made. Umar Nurmagomedov, Corey Sandhagen. I think Corey Sandhagen can beat Umar Nurmagomedov. He's a much better striker than what Umar is, and has kind of added this wrestling feather to his cap now. However, Umar Nurmagomedov has got that Dagestani super strength, and if he gets you down, he is more than likely going to control you. And the UFC realistically are want to just catapult Umar Nurmagomedov into this title picture. They were going to do it already. I think you match him up against Corey Sandhagen. If Corey Sandhagen beats Umar Nurmagomedov, that's a massive win for him. If Umar Nurmagomedov beats Corey Sandhagen, he's fighting for the belt. So make that matchup happen. I think it would be interesting to see. Next up, co-main event. Now, I want to start off by saying, make this co-main event 5 rounds, because I'm sick of seeing Khamzat Chimaev in 3-round fights. Anyway, Khamzat Chimaev is going to be in the co-main event. Now, who he fights, there are 3 possible opponents. I'll run you through them. Sean Strickland, former middleweight champion in the UFC, want to push Khamzat Chimaev to the title fight. No better way than putting him in there against the former champion. Don't think they're going to do that one. Next up, you have got Robert Whittaker. I would love to see him in there with Robert Whittaker. However, I don't see them doing that matchup either. The matchup I see the UFC doing is Jared Cannonier. I think the UFC are going to do Jared Cannonier versus Khamzat Chimaev, co-main event, Saudi Arabia. Now, if you check the UFC website, by the way, I don't know if they do this for every card, but when you check the Saudi Arabia card on the UFC website, the only thing they have announced is it says middleweight and the fighters need to be announced. That's the only thing that has on that card. For me, that's a clear indication it is going to be Khamzat. Now, whether or not the UFC, because this is a fight night, just do Khamzat as the main event, I don't think they should or will. This is how I would book the Saudi Arabia card anyway. But yeah, Khamzat Chimaev, obviously coming off that win against Kamaru Usman, that should have been a draw in my opinion. Dominated Usman in the first round and then gassed. Now, can he dominate Jared Cannonier in the first round? More than likely. But Jared Cannonier has that 5-round gas tank, hits extremely hard, is very technical, and if I'm being honest, if this is over 5 rounds, I think Jared Cannonier beats Khamzat Chimaev. Now, Jared Cannonier needs one more win in my opinion before fighting for the belt. Yes, he has beaten Marvin Vettori and he beat the former champion Sean Strickland. That was a very close matchup, but I did give it to Jared Cannonier. But with the time out, I feel like he does need another win, especially because Sean Strickland is a massive star now, and Adesanya is obviously one of the biggest stars in the sport. So those guys are going to be fighting for the belt next. One of those guys, I think it's going to be Adesanya. But anyway, Jared Cannonier should get in there, get a statement win against Khamzat Chimaev, or if not, Khamzat Chimaev gets a statement win and then solidifies himself next for the belt. Whoever wins that, whatever scenario the UFC go for. And finally, the main event, Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. Now, yes, Poirier might not be the most deserving at lightweight for the title fight. You've got Justin Gaethje who beat him. You've got potentially Max Holloway. You've got Oliveira. You've potentially got Arman Tsarukyan. But Islam Makhachev says he wants to fight in June. And let's be honest, those guys fighting on 300 on the April card will not be ready for June. So Dustin Poirier is the only one. I think Dustin Poirier, he definitely is still top 5 in the lightweight division. Let's see. Poirier's ranked number 3. And he's coming off a win, a KO win, against probably the best prospect, in my opinion, in the UFC, in Benoit Saint-Denis. So why not? This will be all or nothing for Dustin Poirier. Give him one last go at the title. Islam wants to fight in June. Why not have this guy fight in June? It's in Saudi Arabia. Like I said, the UFC, they always like to put the Russian fighters on those Middle Eastern cards. What a way to just start off your relationship with Saudi Arabia by having this mega Saudi card, by topping it off with Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. Now, who do I think wins? I think Islam Makhachev, honestly, will finish Dustin Poirier in the first or second round. I think Dustin Poirier's grappling has a lot to be desired for. Jumping guillotines is not going to work against Islam Makhachev. Islam, in my opinion, is more aggressive for the finish than Khabib Nurmagomedov was, and Khabib was able to finish Dustin. However, Khabib's control on the ground is better than Islam's, and Islam's a better striker than Khabib. So I feel like Dustin Poirier kind of has more of a chance against Islam, because I think Islam will look to stay on the feet with Poirier for portions of this fight. But again, I just think Islam currently is the best pound for pound fighter in all of MMA. And I can see him choking out Dustin Poirier either in the first or second round. But yeah, that's how I would book the UFC Saudi Arabia card. Let me know what you think about this card in the comments below. And who do you think wins the matchups that I have said. Now, what was I going to say there? I was going to say something else. Yeah, the Fight Night cards recently have been dead. There hasn't been much news coming out about the UFC. That's why I haven't been really active on my uploads. But again, thank you very much for 100 subscribers. We're going to be aiming now the next goal 200. Keep pushing on. Thank you for the support. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. It does really help out. And I will see you again in the next one.